Gareth, first of all, I was going to ask you if you encourage your defenders to play out from the back, do you just have to accept that occasionally they are going to make mistakes?
Well, yes, that is going to happen. I think what we've focused on in the last 18 months is eradicating those errors. And, I think with 14 matches, we've conceded 5. And of those, 2 were penalties in the autumn, 1 was a free kick. So we knew that was an area we had to improve upon. And tonight, obviously, we've lost the goal. But, the pleasing thing was John in particular regained his composure quickly, recovered in the game, and thankfully had an important part in the winning goal as well. So he's built a lot of resilience over that period, and of course I didn't think the pass to him helped that situation. It brought more pressure on there. Just
looking ahead to the Euros, obviously you had about 7 or 8 players missing from this squad because of injuries. How hard is it going to be for them to get into the Euro squad, or is it all still to play for?
Well, the first thing is that the group that have been with us this week have been fantastic to work with. I have to say, we've had a very calm week until tonight. So there's inevitably going to be something as the week develops, but we were really pleased with the collective, their approach to everything, how they've supported each other, and they achieved the objective we set of 9 points, which, frankly, a lot of countries around Europe, big countries, haven't been able to do. So I'm really pleased with what they've all done. We've, of course, got some players, particularly in the attacking areas, who are out at the moment, who are going to come into the reckoning. But we just don't know what that's going to look like in reality. We've got another 8 to 10 weeks of an intense season. Some players are going to be back from injury. Unfortunately, we're likely to lose some others through that period. I think that's going to be the reality. So we're just going to have to monitor all of that, make sure that we're up to speed on where everybody's at, and there's a lot for us to think through, of course, but we're pretty much where we knew we were. There's not a lot over the last 10 days, good and bad, that has surprised me. And, I think that in itself shows that we know our players, we know where they're all at, we know there's room for improvement needed to be a top team. But today was a good test for us, and good test in terms of the quality of the opponent, but also in terms of our resilience.
And just the final one from me, obviously the under-21s were eliminated from the Euros today. What's your reaction to that? Do you think Aidy Boothroyd is still the right man for the job?
Well, I was heartbroken for them, really. I wasn't able to watch all of the game because we were travelling, but it looked like they were going to mount a great escape, and it was a phenomenal goal that has knocked them out in the dying minutes. So, very difficult for them all. Again, 3 tough matches in a period of the season that is like no other for young players. That's been very difficult. Very, very strong group that they were in. And of course, we've got a lot of players who could be starting for them in our team. That's just, we're a very young squad now, and that's made it more difficult for them. So, tonight I feel for them all, because I'm sure they were so close to getting through, and it's a huge disappointment for them.
Okay, thanks, Carve. Plenty of hands raised, so if we can try and make it one question each. We'll go next to Adrian Milinik.
Adrian?
Hello?
Adrian.
Hello, good evening, coach. Adrian Melnik. I will ask in Polish. Chciałem zapytać odnośnie...
I would like to ask you about this match. What's your opinion about the Polish national team and how well Poland played at 1-1? Were you worried about a draw, or you were convinced about the England win? And also the penalties. Are you convinced about the penalty on Sterling and whether Harry Maguire touched the ball with his hand? And perhaps Poland should have had a penalty. And congratulations on the win, of course.
Thank you. I thought Poland we knew would be a really tough test. They have some very good players. I particularly thought Krychowiak in midfield was excellent tonight, very good. But that didn't surprise us. We knew the quality they had. Everybody was focusing on Lewandowski, of course, but we knew there were other players in this team to be able to cause problems, and we knew that the team has fantastic spirit. So it was always going to be difficult to break down the pack defence, and that they do have Poland have a goal threat and some good footballers, good interchange of play. So for us, it was a better test than our last few matches. And we knew the importance of the win, to play here at Wembley with no fans. When it goes to 1-1 is a disadvantage for us. We know we will have to come to Warsaw, possibly a full stadium, go to Budapest with probably a full stadium. So they're going to be particularly difficult games with that change of dynamic in the group. I haven't seen either of those incidents back other than having seen them live. At the time, I thought ours was a penalty, but I haven't seen it back to be able to give you a different opinion.
Thanks, Adrian. Next, we'll go to Mark Mann-Bryans from Press Association.
Hi again this time, Andy. Hi, Gareth. We still don't know if Jordan Henderson will be fit for the summer, but Calvin Phillips started all during this current break. Given both systems you deploy seem to have two defence-minded midfielders, has this break pretty much assured him of a place at the Euros?
Well, I think everybody has still got to perform well between now and the end of the season in every position. But we're really pleased with what Calvin's done. We were going to pick him last March when he was still in the Championship. We saw attributes that we thought we could help it internationally to develop. And, he came in August before he'd played in the Premier League. He's really reliable with his rebounding of the ball in midfield, and he's got a good range of passing. His athleticism's critical. We were contemplating making a change for a long period, but we felt that our attacking players were still all having individually good moments and taking up dangerous positions and creating. And we felt that the importance of Declan and Calvin in that period for giving us stability in front of the defence was really key. So in the end, we stuck with it, which we knew if we didn't get the result would be heavily criticised. But sometimes you have to hold your nerve and stick with what you believe to be right. But Calvin has been a great addition to the group. Superboy, great humility. Very, very good player. And I think, of course, Marcelo's done an excellent job in developing him as an individual, but I think he's got a lot of good qualities that of his own making and his family's making, and I know in particular they'll be very proud.
Thanks, Mark. Alex Howell, BBC Sport.
Hi, Gareth.
Hi, Alex.
I just wanted to ask you how happy you were to see John Stones bounce back after making a mistake, and how important it was for him to do that straight away in this game. Yeah,
it's key. Every player is going to make mistakes in games, and sometimes they'll be punished and sometimes they won't. But what you're looking is for that reaction to see how they respond, and it would be easy to fold in those moments, and John didn't, and that was an important factor in us staying in the game. As Poland ended up with a little bit of momentum, and then a critical intervention in the other box to set up Harry for what was a brilliant volley. So, I was pleased to see his reaction, and that was important that the whole team showed that sort of response.
Thanks, Alex. James Ollie, ESPN.
Hi, Gareth. I think
James.
you said in TV that fatigue was a bit of a factor in the second half. How much of a concern is fatigue this summer, given the condensed schedule? And you seem to combat it in Russia by giving the players a week off at the end of the season. Is that going to be possible this time, given the sort of tighter turnaround?
Well, we will still look to do that. Whether they're going to be able to go away is, of course, looking highly unlikely. But I think they need a rest period, and psychologically they need that rest. Under normal circumstances, there's clearly potentially 5 or 6 attacking players that we'd have been able to refresh the team across the 3 games. And even though 45 minutes in the first game doesn't seem anything, as you get towards the end of the 3rd game, all those things take their toll. And we knew these were important qualifiers. We had to push. We've recovered and looked after the players in the best possible way. But come the summer, we will have more options to refresh during matches and to make those changes that I think will allow us to rotate the squad a bit more. So I think that's going to be key. I know there's some discussion about perhaps an extended number in the squad. I'm not certain I'm behind that. I know COVID could play a part, but I think there's a skill to picking 23, and it means you've got to make good decisions and important decisions, and I think some of that can be lost as you get an extended group. So, yeah, let's see how that develops. But I'm not 100% for it, I'd have to say.
Thanks, James. And we have time for one final question, which would be from Mike Maguire, The Telegraph.
Hi, Gareth.
Hi, Mike.
With the when you said that you could see that there's a step to go with this team in their progress, just what are those key areas that you're looking for that improvement, and how difficult is that to do in a couple of months?
Well, I think in the first half we found the spaces down the sides of their block really well, but some of our passing was poor quality. For the level of players we've got, we overran some passes, we overran the ball a few times. We weren't as sharp moving it as I would expect. I was pleased with the way we saw the final minutes of the game out, bar the long throw, which we should have done better, but we definitely showed better game management in that period after we'd scored. And there are some young players that are doing some fantastic things. I mean, Calvin, we've spoken about, as only 4 or 5 internationals. I thought Declan Rice's performances across all of the games, his reading of danger, the number of recoveries he gets in front of that back 4, but also he used the ball, drove forward with it well. So you forget sometimes how young and inexperienced some of those lads are, and we know that a lot of them are going to peak, in 2, 4, 6 years' time with the age of some of the squad. But we have to keep winning matches, and we have to keep building this team. And what pleased me was we set a 9-point objective. For any team, that's not a given you've got a tricky away game and tonight's game, which is a good level opponent. But they've achieved that, and I was really pleased with the way they all worked together.